Today, we will talk about the 10 biggest train accidents in history. Let's take a look together at these 10 truly dramatic and heart-wrenching disasters. This accident is recorded as one of the biggest train disasters in India. On December 26, 2004, the Matara Express, traveling from Colombo to Matara, was packed with over 1,500 passengers. The train was extremely crowded, as it was during the Buddhist full moon and the Christmas holiday period. However, no one knew what they were about to face as they set off. On that day, a massive earthquake occurred in the Indian Ocean, and shortly after, tsunami waves quickly hit the coasts. The first wave submerged the train's carriages, causing massive destruction. But the real disaster began with the arrival of the second wave. That huge wave caused the train to derail, and the train, now uncontrollable, began crashing into trees and houses. Observations revealed the immense scale of the destruction and horror. This event is etched in the history of both Sri Lanka and the world as a dark stain. Thousands of people lost their lives, and the survivors suffered immense trauma. And this event, of course, was not just a train accident. It also demonstrated how a natural disaster can turn into utter devastation. January 13, 1917. The location was Romania, Turia Station, Iași County. On that day, the train known as the Courier E1 was departing from Galați, heading toward Iași. Unfortunately, this journey would end very differently. The train consisted of 26 carriages, carrying soldiers, students, and civilians. The train was extremely crowded, as many people were traveling. However, on that day, no one could have known what kind of disaster awaited. The train derailed due to a brake failure and collided with another train. As a result of the accident, tragically, between 800 and 1,000 people lost their lives. The exact cause and how it happened remain unknown, as no official investigation was conducted. On December 12, 1917, we will address a tragic train accident that occurred in France. On that day, near Saint-Michel-de-Maurienne, a military train was involved in a great disaster. This train was carrying over 1,000 French soldiers returning on leave from the Italian front. However, the structure of the train, consisting of 19 carriages, and its inadequate braking system led to a complete disaster as it descended through the Maurienne Valley. Unfortunately, after the train derailed, a large fire broke out. In this incident, between 675 and 800 people lost their lives. 424 bodies were identified, and 135 bodies never identified. This tragedy was kept a military secret for 90 years. However, in 1998, monuments were erected in memory of the deceased. On that day, a passenger train traveling on the Vyazma-Bryansk route derailed when a temporarily constructed wooden bridge collapsed, causing the train to plunge directly into a lake. The train was carrying many people, including soldiers and civilian refugees. In the face of the severity of the disaster, sources report between 600 and 700 deaths, though the exact number remains unknown. This event became one of the deadliest train disasters in Russian history. The accident occurred near the village of Vereshchovka, and the events of that day left deep marks on both the country and the world's history. A special train departing from Kolyma consisted of a total of 20 carriages. The train was so overcrowded that people had to cling to the roofs and even the undercarriages of the wagons. However, things didn't end there. The train entered a long and steep descent. At this very moment, control was completely lost. As the train rapidly took the bends, many passengers were thrown from the train, and the tragedy became inevitable. Eventually, the entire train derailed and plunged into a deep canyon. Of the 900 people, fewer than 300 survived this horrific disaster. On June 4, 1989, a horrific train disaster occurred in the Iglinski district of Bashkir, ASSR, Soviet Union. 2 passenger trains were carrying holidaymakers. However, nothing went as planned. Sparks from a leak in a gas pipeline ignited the trains, engulfing them in flames. The disaster was so intense that 575 people lost their lives and over 800 others were injured. It was recorded as the deadliest train accident in Soviet and Russian history during peacetime. It was also the second deadliest overall after the Vereshchovka train disaster. A tragedy occurred in the town of Balvano, located in the Basilicata region of Italy, which became one of the most painful train disasters in its history. On a steam-powered, coal-burning freight train, 517 people, mostly illegal passengers, were trapped in a tunnel. Due to the use of low-quality coal and inadequate ventilation, carbon monoxide poisoning emerged, leading to the unfortunate loss of lives. 90 people were injured, and all the deceased were buried in common graves. This horrifying event remained largely unreported for a long time due to the ongoing war. There was an express train traveling from Dire Dawa to Addis Ababa on a railway line coming from Djibouti, carrying approximately 1,000 passengers. As the train moved across a curved bridge over the Awash River, it suddenly lost control. On the curved bridge, starting from the rear carriage, 4 carriages derailed, and all of them plunged into the valley below. According to initial reports, 449 people lost their lives, but the latest information from Ethiopian radio reported the death toll as 428. More than 500 people were also injured. This horrific incident highlights how deficiencies in safety measures can lead to catastrophic consequences. On December 26, 2023, a train departed Pyongyang for Gyeomgul with 9 carriages. The front carriages were reserved for government officials, while the remaining ones carried citizens and workers. Many headed to the Komdok mines. Shortly after departure, while climbing a steep section, a power fluctuation caused the electric train to lose power. It rolled backward uncontrollably and derailed, resulting in a catastrophic crash. More than 400 people were dead, and many others were injured. On February 20th, 2002, a passenger train traveling from Cairo to Luxor caught fire near El Ayat when a gas cylinder exploded in the 5th carriage around 2 a.m. The fire spread quickly, destroying 7 carriages. Authorities initially reported 383 deaths, though the true number may have been higher, as the carriages were overcrowded and completely burned, leaving many bodies unidentifiable. A lack of communication between the driver and the rear carriages delayed response, causing many passengers to die while trying to escape. Some officials believe the actual death toll was concealed to protect the government's image, and the absence of a complete passenger list made it difficult to confirm the number of missing persons. Yeah, we've taken a look at 10 of the most tragic train accidents in history. If you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and continue following us. See you soon.